Also, because we're basically going to redo the entire talk, you can either continue from the project you created if you were able to follow along with me, or just completely start over. I'm just going to personally completely start over. That's a pretty important. Yeah, gets Hey Gus, how much longer are you gonna need? Okay. I'm lonely without you. John Dory. John Dory. Is everyone ready for the second talk during the third talk? Are you guys ready? Um, Show of hands. Who feels confident that they can follow along with me now? I mean, to the point where their emulators won't break and you can kind of basically do basic running and compiling. That is more than when we started, which is incredible. Okay. Hey guys, so what I want everyone to do is just close all your Android projects that you have open right now, okay? Let's close out of all of them, and then we're just going to start and create a new project together again. All right. So I will give you a couple minutes to get that done, and then we can start. Um, okay. So time to get started. Uh, so let's get started. Start a new Android project. Okay. So let's click it like the same thing. I'm just gonna call mine my application. Doesn't really matter. You guys can name it whatever you want. Tasker, to do, super awesome project. It's all up to you. Actually, I'm gonna call it Narwhal. Cool. All right. So if you're using your phone and you're not using Lollipop or all that stuff, it's perfectly fine to use KitKat 4.4. Uh, like I said, I'm gonna use Lollipop just because that's what I wrote the application in, and I have my code up here to follow along with, so I don't mess up. Um, so if 4.4 worked, you said some people needed 4.4, right? Yeah. So use KitKat if you're not sure. If you if, if you're using an emulator, you can just go ahead and do Lollipop. If you're using a device and you don't know what the type is, it doesn't hurt to use KitKat. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's get going. So I hit next, and now we are here to choose which activity we want to do. And again, we want to choose navigation through activity. Is everyone to this point?
If you guys get lost, raise your hands. I'm going to come up to you. That's the easiest way to do this. And I will also walk around a little bit. But at any point, if you get lost in the code, raise your hand. I'll come up to you.
Okay, yeah. Just raise your hand, wave it real big and high. It doesn't hurt to ask questions. It's a hackathon after all. So navigation drawer activity. Hit next. And now we are in the customize the activity. You can call it main activity. So just keep the stuff, the names as it is. So when you look at my screen, it looks the same as yours. So click finish. And it's going to do its thing. Signal. Yeah. No. Okay. All right, cool. So Alright, so is everyone to this point? Raise your hand if you're to this point. Or actually, sorry, raise your hand if you're not to this point. Raise your hand if this point is null. What? Return false. Alright, so we're to this point. Right? Okay. So the first thing that opens up when you get here is your main activity. Well, let's go over what the sidebar is real quick. Okay, so on the left, it's kind of hard to see, but that's all the bigger I can make it over there. So your project in the panel, right now the default is set to Android as per this drop down in the very left corner. And it's just a really easy way because the actual folder setup for the project of an Android project is ridiculous. As you can see, this is the actual Android setup, and it's all over the place, and it's messy, and it's dirty, and it's a pain. Okay, so you can see on the left there's a lot of files. Now, Android is just better because the Android layout is better because of this. It's just really cleaned up. It only shows you what you need to show for development. So now we're back in our navigation drawer fragment, and so I am going to start up Genymotion again. For you guys, you can run your devices. I'm just going to continue to use Genymotion. Alright, so I'm going to run the application that it automatically created for us again. It is building right now, so give it a second. Okay, so here's the application again on the left. So hold on, let me open up the other device. It might be easier to see, or I can do both. So here's the basic section. Section 1, narwhal, all this information. Section 2, example application, example action, and this little drop down. So now what I said before is we're going to go and change the sections to what we need so we can better format our fragments. Yes. All right. That's really easy to see. So let's go through. Is everyone to this point where it created the new question? Okay, you're good. Anyone not good at this point? So everyone's here. Cool. So what we want to do now is go and change our side menu, the navigation drawer, so that it says the two sections we need. The to do and then the to done. Or tasks and completed. Whatever you want, really. So to do that, the first thing I would think of is I'm going to look for somewhere in my activity where it has the section names. Okay. So I went through and I looked, and that's on section attached. So I look here, and so when you click the sidebar, when this menu comes out and you click one of these items, it sends an integer. So the first one is 0, 1, 2. It's like an array. Okay. So when you click it, it sends a number. So it sends the number here. So if we don't want the third one, we can safely get rid of this case 3. So I got rid of case 3. Next thing we need to do, is to go in our navigation drawer fragment, because we want to also remove that from the navigation drawer. So to do that, I'm just going to scroll down through my code, and I'm going to look for this array adapter. And in Java, in Android, the array adapter is how you control your list. So when the array adapter updates, the list updates automatically. They're binded to each other. So you can safely delete this section 3 right here. So delete. Oops, delete. So now, if we run, if we look on the side, we only have 2 sections now. So why don't you guys try running the code and see if that one section disappeared. All right, who wasn't able to get the section to disappear, or is currently still doing that? Do you have a question in the back? Okay. So section 3, it should be in the main activity. Yeah, so case 3, case 3 you can delete, which is the third section. Because when you click the items on the left, it sends an integer, and for the third case, which is that third index, you delete it. Okay? And then you want to go in your drawer fragment, your drawer class, and look for, there's going to be an array adapter with 3 values, and you delete the third value, and then it removes it. So now, because those the navigation drawer items were pulled from the strings file, if we go back in our values folder, and then within the values, there's a strings.xml. You can remove title section 3. I'm actually just going to comment it out for now so you guys can see what I removed. All right, so who wasn't able to get this to work? All right, so has anyone not been able to make it this far yet? Okay, so I'm going to go on. So the next thing we need to do is, well, the next thing I would do is create our 2 fragments. Actually, sorry, rename these 2 sections from your strings, like I originally said. So to do, to done. So they're there, and they're done. So if you run it again, the information is now here: to do, to done. So they're there. Great. So now what we want to do is, because we have those two sections, that right away to me, that means I'm going to need two fragments. One fragment for the to do, the other fragment for the to done. So I'm going to do that. First thing I do is I'm going to create a new package within my base application package. So where the main activity class file is, that folder it's in, create a new package in that folder. So new package, and I'm going to call it fragments. Fragments. Then within there, you can go new fragment, and you can actually go to new and then go down to fragments and then fragment blank. And I'm going to call it to do fragment. Sorry, ignore that. Something weird happened. So just create it, instead of doing a new fragment, just create a new Java class and just call it to do fragment, and we'll extend it ourselves because we can have more control over it. To do fragment, and I'm going to make another one called to done fragment. Okay. So everyone create your new classes. Okay, so the gentleman up here asked the question, are we creating the fragments on the main application? And the answer is no. We don't create the fragments in the activity. The activity creates a new instance of the fragment, and the fragment creates itself, which is a really weird concept. But the reason we do that is because then we can go and call back and get the instance of that fragment and later modify it from the activity, which normally can't be done in original Java. It's one of those very, very low level Android programming tasks that are actually kind of hard to do. It's one of those things that you just do and it works. There's a lot of things in Android that you just do and it happens to work. So has anyone not created these new classes yet? Yeah, question. I can't hear you. All right, so who doesn't have their classes made yet? That's a question. Okay, so has everyone gotten to the point of you have your 2 blank fragment classes made? Everyone here? Okay. So next, what we want to do is you want to change your to-do fragment to extend fragment. So you do public class to-do fragment extends fragments. Okay, so perfect. Next, we need to implement all the different overrides, the onCreate and all this stuff. So I'm going to go through and type it out as I see it, and you guys should follow along with me, alright? Because this isn't something that might be readily available or recognizable. Okay, so on the left here is a so the left side of my screen is a fragment that I wrote before, and the right side is the fragment that you guys created. So I'm gonna go through and you guys follow along as I type, and hey Gus, I need you for this so I can type and someone talk.
Okay. All right. So he's gonna go ahead and do what he needs to do, and I'm gonna try to explain. Follow with him. Wait, who isn't ready to go on at this point? Okay, so just okay. All right. I apologize. I was just working with you. I know. Okay, let's go. All right. So what he's doing is okay. Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't gonna worry about it. Yeah. So this can also be found on his GitHub repo. If you can't follow along, copy it from there. That's fine. Okay, so keep following along, and I'm gonna explain once I understand what he's actually doing. Like the why didn't oh. All right, so this is basically a constructor in a sense. It's just there's a specific reason we can't use a constructor. Treat this like a constructor. We're creating a constructor for this to-do fragment class. Okay, so that's basically that function right there that we just created. The new instance. Basically, you call it. We're going to call it from our activity. It's going to make a new instance of our to-do fragment, and it's going to hand it back to our activity. And then what we do below it is we create a blank constructor so that calling the constructor doesn't do anything because we want people to use the new instance. This is kind of a trick that you can just ignore. Just know that the constructor itself, if you try to do new to-do fragment, it will not do anything, and you need to use the new instance to actually construct a new object of this type. Oh, wait. Never mind. Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right, I get it now. Kind of ignore what I just said. I was kind of right, mostly not. Is that good? You want me to stay down here, or you're still doing? Yeah, yeah, yeah. How many people are still following along? Good. Okay. Now we're gonna stop for a bit for a question. Anybody else have questions? Questions? Okay. What's your question? So the reason that the reason that we just created that method as static is because the reason it's static is because it's basically acting as our constructor, and thus theoretically, when we call the new instance, we don't actually have an instance of the to-do fragment to call it on yet. We need to just use that static function to create the new instance. We need to use that static function to create the object itself. It's basically our constructor.
So we asked up here, why do we use static as compared to just normal construction? The reason for that is as soon as you create a new object using the constructor in Java, you right away go off the main thread. And in any graphical programming, if you exit the main thread, then you can no longer update the GUI, which basically defeats the purpose of an application. So that's the reason why we do an instance.
I don't even know why. We're gonna keep motoring on. Anybody have more questions? Please throw these questions at us. We love them, even if I can't ever get them right. Nobody? All right. Let's keep moving on. Like I said, this code is a complete mystery to me. I've never seen it before. All right, just keep following along. All right, so he explains it right there for you. Anybody having trouble seeing the text? I know it's getting a little bit late. Everyone's getting a little bit tired. Okay, good. Is everybody caught up at this point? Who's not caught up? Who's not caught up and needs help? Okay, so everyone just needs to be caught up and nobody needs help. Okay, cool. We'll give you guys like a minute, 2 minutes. How's everyone doing? Okay, we have one person who's you on the screen. Matt, can we turn on like wrapping? Oh, that should be good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Hey guys, so we've had a couple people who haven't worked that much with Java. How many people haven't worked too much with Java who are still following along with us? Okay, so a couple people. So one thing that's really useful about Android Studio, if you ever have, hey Matt, could you go ahead and delete like one of your import statements, like for bundle? No, not. Oh God, you can cause a lot of work for yourself. Okay, so you guys see all those red words. I'm assuming most of you have seen that where the words go red. All you have to do to fix that, it just means that those classes most likely are not imported. It could also mean that you typed the type name wrong and it can't find it, but most likely if you typed it right, those class names are not imported. So what you can do is you can click on the type name itself. So Matt, can you click on the bundle type? Huh? Will that pull them in? Okay, yeah. Then go to code and go to optimize imports. Is that the same on the window? Oh, okay, okay. Scratch that. What you do is, Matt, can you just click? This is what I've been teaching people. Can you click the bundle in your to do fragment new instance method? The other bundle before the variable name. So if you click the variable name, or sorry, if you click the class name and then you hit Alt Enter, it will automatically do the import for you. So then he has to do that now for every type. So if he goes down to the layout inflator, the view, what he's doing right now, it solves all your import problems. If ever a method name is red, it's because the class that method is from is not imported. So you just need to find another red class and do that Alt Enter, and you'll import automatically that class. Is everyone following along? Everyone good? Give me a thumbs down if you guys are not ready to go in to continue. Scroll back up. Matt, can you scroll back up? What do you need to see? Oh, you want to see the imports? Can you show them the import? Oh, you are. All right, we're gonna move on, whether you like it or not. All right, so what we're doing right now is we're about to add our list view. A list view is exactly what it sounds like. It's a list. If you've ever been an Android, if you're an Android user, even if you're an iOS user, a list view is just whenever you have a scrollable list of options, of, I guess, names, any sort of scrollable list view. In Android, that's going to be a list view. It's a very simple idea. So he's adding in his list view. Questions? Any questions? Any questions? So a list view is a view. So go into. So where you're actually adding this, list view is in your fragment main XML. It depends on actually it depends on what you named your fragment. Oh, actually, it should be by default fragment main.xml. So we're editing right now. We're editing this fragment. This is the Matt. Is this the to do or the to done fragment, or is it? They're the same. Okay. Okay. So this is our basic general fragment that we're editing. So within this fragment, we're going to have a list view. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, this general fragment object is going to be used for both lists. It's going to be used for the to-do list and the to-done list. We're just going to, it's just a generic object that we're then going to create 2 copies of. Matt, why did you comment out the text view? Was it just a test thing? Okay, so you guys can comment out that text view. And commenting, by the way, commenting in XML, actually, you might as well just delete it because commenting in XML is a pain. Oh, okay. It's like a caret exclamation point 2 dashes and then at the end of the comment is 2 dashes and then a closing caret. It's stupid. Huh? It's an HTML comment if you guys have done HTML. It's just that most of these people don't seem to have done HTML. Okay, I think we're good to go. All right, so we're moving on, guys. Wait. Oh, so you can follow along? Okay, yeah, so everybody who's not on the GitHub right now, I know we only had the link up for a bit. This is the link to the GitHub. His GitHub is going to be GitHub. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, now it's gone. Yeah, there. This is the link to the GitHub. Everyone who is not on here right now, go on here and open this up. This is where all the code is. All right. Is everyone on the GitHub? Is there anybody who's not on the GitHub? Is everyone good? So in the GitHub, we are in. So the GitHub directory is exactly the same file structure as the project. So just go to the directory that you are in. Okay, so that's where we are right there. And by the way, that java/com/Matthew Porter, or sorry, the Java is always going to be there, but the com.Matthew Porter, that's whatever namespace you define. For a lot of you, it's probably going to be like com.example or something like that. It's just whatever namespace you defined at the beginning. Is everyone good now? Good, no good. I think we're going to power on. Hey guys, cup stacking competition is out in the atrium? Okay, cup stacking / various other games for prizes run by MLH out in the atrium. So if you guys want prizes, more than you want to learn Android, or if you're not learning Android right now, might as well go get some prizes if you're really good at cup stacking. All right, are we good? We're gonna go. Okay, just go on the. I know we said not to do this before, but go on the GitHub, copy the list view, or type it. This list view is going to be kind of the most essential component of the fragment because it's going to contain all the tasks. It's the only component of the fragment, so this is all you have to worry about. Or just copy and paste it. So not exactly. He just asked the whole point of it to give us a layout. The layout, if we're going strictly by Android terms, the layout is the relative layout that's wrapping the list view. The list view is a view, and then within the list view there are items. So it is a layout in a non-strict sense. It's a layout for a bunch of items in our list. So as you can imagine, if you were building a to-do list, you would want a list of items. That's exactly what our exactly. We're gonna be putting tasks into our list view. That's what the list view is. It's gonna be a list of items. Go. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Thumbs up. All right. Oh, okay. We got 2 questions. Do you want me to come up? Is it like a problem with your project specifically? You have a general question? Say that one more time. Can you like yell it? The preview, can you go to your preview in your XML? I think the preview just pops up a bunch of items by default as dummy items to show you what it looks like. There's no items in it from the start. We have to do that ourselves, so don't worry about that. Somebody has a question up there. I'm gonna go handle his question. Matt, can you take over on the mic for a bit? I'll come back down in a sec.
And I just compiled the program, and there's nothing in the list view here, so it was just all dummy in the design. So now that we have this, we're gonna go through and actually try and add some information to the list. So to do that, we can actually look back at our navigation drawer, and here is an example of a list. So what I'm going to actually do is go back to my to-do fragment, and we are going to, within our onCreate view, is that right? Yeah, so on our onCreate view, after this root view, so we want to do all of our onCreate information between the root view and the return root view. So we need to get our list view. In the list view, remember this, ID task list view. So what I'm going to do is this. So sorry if I can't talk while I'm typing.
Okay, so also Matt, let's slow down a little bit because people are getting lost. So let's just stop at this after this step. Okay, so we're about to pull our list view into our code. I know I'm not really using technical terms here, and I apologize for that. The best way to see it is our list view. Our list view exists in the layout itself that we defined in the XML. But if we want to do anything programmatically with it, which is basically everything we're going to be doing with it, if we want to like find out when somebody interacts with it, if we want to add new items to it dynamically, we need to pull it into our code. So that's what we're doing right now. We're in that line that says list view mlist view. We're finding the view by its ID, and the ID is what we gave it in the XML. So we named it tasks underscore list underscore view. So that pulls it into our code, into that object called mListView. So now what's stored in mListView is literally our list view object, and we're going to be able to interact with it. Yes. So that thing that we typed into the XML corresponds exactly to the object that we just created in the Java. So we just had a question. What's the r.layout.fragment, or what's the r.id.tasks list? That is the resource identifier for that view. So remember in our XML, can you go over to the XML? In our XML for the list view, we have that line that says at plus id task list view. So what that line does is the at plus basically says I am adding a new ID. So when we type that at plus and then give it an ID, once we save that file, it creates an object in our file system. Basically, it edits another XML file and adds another line for this ID. It puts an entry for that ID in the XML. Yeah, basically. So there's an XML variable. Yeah. So can we go back to our Java code now? The best way to look at that r.id is basically look at it like a directory. We're going to r is the resources. We're looking in resources, then we're looking in the IDs, and then we're looking for an ID called tasks._list_view. So that's the way that we kind of link between the XML and the Java. That ID or that object right there is kind of the main linking thing. That's how the Java finds the XML object. Any other questions? That was a really great question. That's something that I personally didn't understand for like pretty much the whole extent of my Android learning. Anything else? Are we good to go? Are you guys good to go up there so far? Or? Yeah. Right. Let's move on. You didn't name that variable. Clearly what we're going to do right here is we're going to create an array list of strings which are going to, I assume, represent our tasks. Okay, so this is basic stuff. This is good. This one's easy to understand. So you guys can feel good about this. So we're creating our list of tasks, and this is actually going to correspond to the list view. Each one of the items in the array list is then going to be converted into a list view item. And so, as you can see right now, Matt is just adding dummy tasks, just to display how this thing is going to work. So this is going to be pretty straightforward, at least right now. Obviously, in a task management app, we can't just program our tasks into the app because that doesn't make any sense. So clearly, it's going to get a little bit more complex. But it's not going to be that much more complex, so you don't have to worry that much about it. Originally, we were going to pull from parse, which is like a nice thing online, but wait, Matt, are we still going to do that? Okay, yeah. So if you guys look at the code sample online that we have, that one uses parse, which is a nice API online that allows you to basically have some server space with them, and then you can just call some simple functions to connect to their server, and then you can literally pull and push data to their server, and it's really nice and seamless. If you want to learn it, it's all in that code. Right now, we're going to make a simpler version of our app that doesn't do that. Okay, so now we're adding the array to the list. So an adapter, this is not that bad to understand. An adapter is an object that's associated with a list view. A list view needs an adapter to basically handle the data set that is associated with the list view. So imagine each list view has sort of a funnel attached to it. The funnel is the adapter. The thing on the other side of the funnel that's funneling into the adapter is some sort of data set, a database, some sort of Java object, etc. In this case, it's a Java object. It's an array list, and thank God in Android there is a subclass of adapter of our funnel that is specifically made for arrays, and you can, as you can see, we're calling new array adapter, and then we are specifying it for strings. So he asked, why do we need to create an inner class? So it's not exactly an anonymous. I don't know how many people know Java super well, but it's not necessarily an anonymous inner class. It's a anonymous object. So actually, what are you doing? You need to look something. Okay. So basically, what we're doing right now is because so right now our goal is to add an adapter to our list view. That's exactly what we're doing. We're just adding an adapter to our list view. So imagine it like you're attaching this funnel machine to your list view to funnel your data into the list view. We need to call, there's only one function we need to call to attach that funnel to the list view. So that adapter, we don't really need to use that object at any point after we attach it to the list view. We don't need to call any functions on it. We don't need to manipulate it in any way. We just really need to build it, and then it'll work. So what he's doing right here, or not right here, what he will be doing is he's calling this set adapter, create adapter, set whatever adapter, and he's creating the adapter object right inside the function call. So where you would normally pass like a variable name to let's say you created an adapter called myAdapter, and then you pass that in. He's just literally creating that object. It's an unnamed variable. He's creating it right in the function call. And then what we do is we define the adapter, and we define what it does inside the function call itself. So if you haven't seen a lot of Java, this is done a lot, and I don't actually think it's deemed bad coding practice, or a bad code. Yeah, I don't think it's deemed a bad coding practice. It looks really ugly, but this is how it's done. So one thing to note, and one thing that oh, are you just gonna now define? Okay. So he's not actually doing that now. He's making it easier to look at. So disregard what I just said. He's not creating an anonymous object. He's creating an object, and it's called mArrayAdapter. So that's our array adapter. And then on the next line, the mListView set adapter, he's actually attaching that adapter to the list view. So as you can see, the array adapter, the mArrayAdapter, we can't just say new array adapter and then that's it. We have to actually define parts of the. Oh wait, never mind. Disregard that. Sorry, I'm a little bit slow tonight. And we're creating this mArrayAdapter, and what we're passing it is the activity itself, which is basically just context. Don't worry about that too much. Just and then that android.r.layout, like we talked about, that's going to be treat it like a directory. But where that's actually going, so it's going to the Android folder, it's going to the resources folder, it's going to the layout folder. So what that is that's an Android pre-programmed layout file. So that file is actually, it comes with Android itself, and what it is it's basically a simple template for a list view item. It's nice. It comes packaged with Android. You don't have to worry about it. You just pass it to this constructor, and basically that's telling this funnel object, this is exactly what I want all of my items that you're putting into this list view. That's what I want them to look like. Model them after this basic template. Okay, so have we lost anybody? Raise your hand if you need help. Really, we're good. Are we really good? You need help up there? Do you have? Should I just shoot? You want me to come up? Okay. Matt, we're having the code on your GitHub has a little bit of an error. Can you open up the GitHub? Go to the fragment main file, the XML. So if you guys are copying, I just did this like 2 times up there. If you guys are copying and pasting from, no, the XML, not the. So if you guys are copying and pasting from the GitHub, but it's you have it right on theirs. The problem is that the GitHub has it wrong, and you probably corrected it already. Oh, it's that, yeah. What? Oh, wait, what? Did that? But okay, yeah.
So because this is the final complete application, our list has a custom list view, and that style line is referring to that custom list view. So if that's giving you error, just delete it for now.
Okay, so either put Android and then colon before it, or better is probably just delete that line completely. Both seems to work. If the one doesn't work, try the other. Anybody have questions? Anybody lost? Anybody? Questions? Yeah. Task list isn't showing. So did you mean when you run it on your phone, they're not showing? Okay.
I'll get to you in a second after I answer that question, right? So you need to go back to your main activity. I was actually going to talk about this, but he got sidetracked, so I kind of forgot for a second when he went off. What you need to do is go in your main activity and look for this method called onNavigationDrawer_item_selected. This is good for everyone too, because I'm sure she's not the only one that has this problem, because we didn't actually go over it yet. So look for this method. You can look for it by just doing Command F, Control F, and typing it in. And what you want to change is, it's probably saying placeholder fragment right now, right? Change it to whatever your class name is for that fragment. Mine personally is to do fragment. So name it whatever fragment you want to load.
Any other questions? We're making good progress. I'm really impressed. Okay, so people who are getting that fragment transaction cannot be applied error, we're about to resolve that. Wait, raise your hand if you're getting the fragment transaction cannot be applied. Okay, so yeah, that's a normal thing to have right now apparently. Anybody who has questions not related to that, raise your hands. You guys? Okay, I'll come up.
You guys are having trouble with you get the error that says transition cannot be applied. Like, so if what I have highlighted right now is like underlined in red, what you need to do is scroll up to the top of the imports, and you need to make the fragment support v4, not just support that app. So I'll show you guys in a second. Okay, so you need to change it so that the import is app v4 fragment. Yeah. No, I'm good. I still have the other water. Thank you. Okay, so who wasn't able to get the list to show yet? Okay. Uh, yeah. Question? Is that what you need? Okay. Oops. Um, oh, I'm sorry. I need a. Okay, there we go. All right, there you go. So for people using KitKat, which is API 19.4.4, you need to make your fragment the version 4 support. If you're using Lollipop, you can use what I have up here, which is just the basic Android app fragment. So if you're getting the error, delete your import for fragment, and then hit Alt Enter again and choose the other option. So once you get that list shown, you can reuse this code to show as many other fragments as you want and as many other lists as you want. Um, yeah, transaction. Yeah, so what you need to do is scroll up to the imports, and you'll see something along the lines of importing a fragment. So delete the import for the fragment. The fragment. It says like support.app fragment or something like that. Do you see where it says fragment import? Okay, so then you go back down, hit Alt Enter, and then there should be choose the second option, which is the v4. Yeah, so if you're using KitKat, you have to do v4. If you're doing Lollipop, you can use the new one. Okay, hold on. Just let me delete my import. So it's android.support.v4.app.fragment. So yeah, once you get this list view in there, this is literally like the hardest part of Android, getting that list view to show. Because now you can add things to your list view as so because we made our adapter an array list of values from if we click a button and then like you normally would with a normal Java array list, your array list dot add in another string, your list view will update with a value automatically. And that's the beauty of an array adapter. I mean, no, it doesn't show one. Leaving it there. There, so I marked which ones you need for which versions. You look at the imports. Who still was not able to get the list view to show up when running? Okay, so what's your issue? Does it compile? Does it run? So go into your main activity. Did you change in your main activity? Okay, so go in your main activity and then you want to find something that looks like, where is it? This override method I'm highlighting. On navigation drawer items selected. So yours should say something like placeholder fragment, right? So all you want to do is replace where it says placeholder fragment with whatever that new fragment class you made was. So for example, mine is to do fragment. So you want to make yours whatever yours is. And once you do that, whenever you run it, it should pop up. Yeah, question? Uh, Let me check something. So what you need to do is go in your fragment and look at your method to do fragment new instance and make sure that the parameters are an integer. Okay, so anyone else not able to get the, yep, coming up. Okay, so who hasn't been able to get that list view to show yet? Did everyone make the list view pop up? Good. All happy? Awesome. So now, if you guys run the app, okay, so let's run it. and then let's all go through what we have so far. Um, so if we run and we look at our app, the only issue now is that when you click a different thing, nothing happens to this like view, right? So that's kind of a problem. I mean, if we want to have multiple different views with all this different data, we need to create multiple fragments. So now, what you guys basically can do is, this is what I did. So we know this one fragment works perfectly good. So what I am going to do is copy my entire to-do fragment, or I'm sorry, copy the contents. Yeah. So in your other fragment, you can see I already had my information. So basically, all you need to do is copy the contents of your class, or better yet, just copy paste everything into your other fragment. This is basically how I do programming. Anyways, it's a lot easier. So I copied and pasted it in. Now if you go through, you can see that the names are wrong. So you just have to go through and rename your variables. That's honestly the easiest way. The reason I did this is because the two fragments are basically going to do the exact same thing. Yeah. So I renamed. So when you copy and paste over, you're going to have to rename these 5 variables to whatever your current class is. So when I copied to my to-do fragment, Ollie said to-do fragment, but this my class is to-done fragment, so I just renamed them. So next, since we already have both of our fragments there, we don't really need to do anything. If you want to, I'm going to go through and change these to 5, 6, 7, 8. And I did that just so we can see that the fragments changed. Now, how do we get them to change when we click? We need to go back to the main activity. So anytime you click something in that navigation drawer, this method right here is called. It's called a callback. So it's calling back to it. So as you can see, anytime anytime it's anything in that drawer is clicked, it's just going to display this main fragment. So we kind of need to do something like this right here. All right. So let's do something like that. Let's write a switch statement. So just follow along with me because I can't talk as I type. So just follow along. Okay. So position, the int position is to respond with 0 through, kind of like an array. So case 0 is going to be the first item on that navigation drawer list, aka this right here, to do, and then to done is the other one. So there you go. All right. So once you guys have this, I'm just going to run and show you guys it real quick so you can see what you're doing, and I'm just going to leave it up for you to copy it. So here it is. I have an error. Okay, so I had a little error. Sorry about that. Scope error. It happens. Okay, so it ran. Yay. There you go. Task 1, 2, 3, 4. Task 5, 6, 7, 8. So whenever I click between these two tasks, it's changing. Cool. So here's the code to change. And honestly, at this point, you guys can add as many items to the navigation and then add as many fragments, and you can create your app off this. What we gave you here is the basic template to create any Android application from this point out. We are going to end this at midnight since we have been basically going at this constantly since 5 this afternoon. Which has been tiring on me, Gus. But so the GitHub repository is online. It follows how to use parse. If you guys want to use that, it has really good docs. Look at my code. My project works completely and perfectly. Besides a couple versions because it requires Lollipop. But for the most part, you can follow along and copy all the code I have, and it should work. I will be leaving around midnight myself, but I will be back later tonight if you guys have questions. If you can't find me, I'm going to either be here or in 208. And then if you guys need to find me, you can Facebook me, Matthew Porter, or Twitter, Matt_Porter_ to get in quick contact with me. But you can't really miss the shirt I'm wearing, so you guys should be able to find me easily if you have questions. So thank you for hanging in with us for those past grueling hours.